This fact is either going to comfort you or horrify you. Welcome back. I'm Tedward, and today, thanks to Bond Group in Waltham, Massachusetts, we're going to do a little therapy drive in this beautiful yellow 993 Turbo. Boy, oh boy, do I love a late-stage air cooler with a couple of snails attached. But I have been getting questions lately about starting your own business, or how do you get into some sort of social media thing? How do you make the jump from corporate indoctrination into your own self-fulfilled business where you've got clients and autonomy, but also, fear of approval and things like that. A lot of people don't want to start something because they're terrified they're going to look stupid. And that doesn't necessarily have to be about their business. It could simply just be about existing in the world, starting an instrument, singing karaoke. I don't know. But at the end of the day, God, I love the way these doors open. At the end of the day, we all love to say, well, it doesn't matter. Let me stop this annoying, incessant dinging. We all love to say that it doesn't matter what other people think. It's just how you feel. Well, guess what? A lot of times, how you feel is tied to how other people think of you. And you need to find a way to separate those two things, but it's not always so simple, because you can't just separate completely what other people think, because a lot of times your business, your thing, whatever you want to be successful at, actually does have to do with what other people think. So if all you're saying is screw the haters, don't listen to them, well, you may never succeed, because you might actually be not listening to constructive criticism in order to improve your skills, life, whatever it is. And my life in particular has been a consistent balance of trying to figure out what's going to make me happy, but also not being so fearful to do something because I'm gonna look stupid doing it. Because it's okay to look stupid doing things as long as you have some form of etiquette or responsibility or self-awareness. Because what you don't want to do is you don't want to be the guy that goes out to the racetrack for the first time, crashes into a bunch of cars, and you're like, well, doesn't matter, I'm me, it doesn't matter what other people think. Like, no, that's not the way to go. You still want to be an appropriate adult about things. So let's start this up and go for a little drive, enjoy the 993, and hopefully shed some of your anxiety about things that make you afraid to try new things. So when you get into these things, they're always giving you some incessant warning about here and there. But anyway, what I love about 911s is all the gauges, and this, even though it's like, mid to late 90s, we are still looking at essentially the same gauge cluster as my 88 and, before that, which is great. We've got a big center tach, our speedo here. We only have 10,000 miles on this car. Our analog clock, our oil pressure, our oil temperature, our oil level, and our fuel gauge. These are so easy to drive. They have power steering, they're all-wheel drive, they put down loads of torque, but they're quiet. It doesn't give off the air of some shouty, outrageous thing. I mean, you can make them that way if you'd like, but this is an executive car. Aside from the fact that it's yellow, I don't know many. This feels like the vibe would be black or silver for most CEOs, but I prefer bright colors on my Porsches, despite the fact that I drive a black one. That was not my choice. I don't have the kind of money to choose colors. I'm always so surprised at how fast this car is. Like, this thing moves, and it's so quiet and refined. It's a little soft. It's interesting to get in this car and feel like, the suspensions of these sort of 90s sports cars always seem to be a little more floaty. Now, I've got a little light on the dash right now. Don't worry about that. That is windshield washer fluid. So don't go commenting to me that I've got low oil. No, we're good. Everything's fine. something that I find very frustrating is that we're always telling kids, like, don't worry what other people think of you, just do what you do, that's how you're going to be special, that's how you're going to find your thing, that's how you'll be successful. But the problem with that is that every step of our childhood, adulthood, adolescence says exactly the opposite. You're consistently seeking the approval of others, whether it's your parents, your friends, other peers at school, your teachers, your first job, right? You're probably seeking the approval of your bosses and, whoever you're slinging pizzas for or working retail for. Like, well, I need their approval so they'll keep me on next season and allow me to have my summer job. Then you need to seek the approval of your college admissions people to make sure that everything's kosher so you look good. You stand out from the crowd. But to stand out for the crowd, what are you doing? You're probably maybe doing things you don't want to do in order to stand out from the crowd, which is a little frustrating. And at the end of the day, you've spent your whole life basically trying to do things for other people, including potentially your major. Are you pre-med because you want to be a doctor? Pre-law because you want to be a lawyer? Or are you doing it because your family expects you to do it? And this is where things get tricky, because if you want to go out on your own and you want to feel like you're an independent individual who chooses their own path, a lot of times you have to go against the approval of some of the people you love, or you sacrifice the approval of your peers who you would otherwise be spending time socially with. For me in high school, I wasn't really hanging out with anybody. I had a few friends, they were great, but I wasn't going out drinking with people. Would I have liked to be? Sure, it would have been good, but I found a lot of the people my age to be really juvenile. Not that I didn't do any juvenile things, but it wasn't my scene, and it was a little cruel. Plus, I was a weird kid, so they weren't going to be nice to me anyway. So I spent my weekends and my Friday nights watching Friday night stand-up, which is why I have a really big love for comedy. And I get along so well with Jay Ryan, who I'm going to mention just because he has that yellow 997 in California, does the late night play set with his wife, Nicole. They just did a cross-country road trip in that car, in the yellow car, and it's fantastic. So anyway, but if you don't listen to anybody at all and you just only march to the beat of your own drum, sometimes that can also be counterproductive, because you end up in a position where if let's say you're doing something creative, you're creating comedy, you're creating a show, you're creating a YouTube channel, or you're a photographer, and people are telling you hey, this would look really good if, or maybe you need a little bit more of that. If you're just giving them the middle finger and not kind of internalizing and experimenting with some suggestions and criticisms, you might actually be missing out on some improvement. And that's a lot of times the fear, is because sometimes we take criticisms as rejection, or and sometimes criticisms are just cruel and mean. I mean, look at YouTube comments. I see a lot of cruel and unusual things come my way, whether it's about I'm too skinny. Oh man, look at his arms, he's so skinny. Or they don't like my voice, or there's just, sorry man, those are things that aren't going to change. So you can't take those types of things too critically. But if someone's saying oh my God, your audio is peaking so bad, yeah, you're right. Maybe I need to adjust the levels a little bit and try to hone in on that. Now, do I still get annoyed? Yeah, I do. But I try to take it in stride. Now, where I see people really lose their souls is after college. So college, maybe you've spent your whole life seeking the approvals of others, your teachers, your coaches, and maybe you need to perform at a certain level of a sport in order to get the scholarship to the college you want to go to, all that stuff. And that's fine. Those are good, healthy qualities, I suppose. But then maybe you were more of a free spirit in college, and then after college, oh boy, you've got to be in the real world. You've got to pay your rent. You've got to pay for food, your insurance, and all the things that you were used to just kind of accepting as existing, because maybe you had good parents who were funding a lot of things, and you don't need to be a trust fund baby for that. Having health insurance is great, and it's a luxury, and not everybody has that. So just so you know, if you are under 26 and living off of your parents' insurance, that's a real luxury. That's something that is a real beautiful thing, and it's something that you should definitely appreciate, no matter what level of financial stability your parents are in. That's something that not everybody has. But now, let's say you're out on your own, you're out of college, and your life, your livelihood really depends on the approval of your boss. Sorry about that, camera overheated. So maybe you're seeking approval from your boss to get that promotion. Like, those are things that are no longer feeling free-spirited. They no longer feel like, oh, I can just do whatever I want, whenever I want, and chase my dreams. No, you're locked in. You've got a performance plan. You've laid out the 5 goals for your job this season, and that can be very, very frustrating when you feel like, but I want to do what I want to do. And I get it. You got to be a team player sometimes. Let's get up this hill. Silent killer, this thing. What a car. So now you've got to go and try to find some hobbies and something that gives you some freedom, that allows you to, like, be yourself, be creative. But that's hard because there's no time. We don't really have a 40-hour work week. Most of us work a heck of a lot more than that, and you need to take into account the likely 2 hours a day of commute time. So maybe you don't drive an hour each way, maybe you take a train or a bus. By the time you're done, you've woken up at 6:30 a.m., you've gone to work for 8, you've gotten home at 5:30 to 6:30, depending on your situation, and now you're supposed to go and use the rest of the time to, like, exercise and enjoy yourself and create your own little vibe. Like, no. And so that's one of the reasons why I really felt compelled to go off on my own. But I was worried what other people thought. When you say that you're going to quit that stable paycheck, it makes you look insane. It makes you look like, whoa, you're going to lose that 401k match. You're going to lose the health insurance that we have, and you're going to have to figure that out on your own. There's a lot of little things in those benefits that make you feel like, oh boy, everyone's going to think I'm an idiot. Or who does he think he is, thinking he can just leave this and there's going to be something better for him that he's going to figure out on his own. And that's really the perspective that I think I noticed the most. Was like, a lot of people would kind of give you the, hey, good luck, but it was more of a good luck, you know, because venturing out on your own is not always guaranteed, but it is absolutely respectable. But I listened to the critics. I listened to the haters, because if you just ignore the haters and you ignore the critics, then a lot of times you're missing out on something that actually might make you successful. So try not to tune out everything, but also don't let the fear of people hating on you or rejecting you stop you from doing things. A few years ago, I was out in Salt Lake City, Utah. My sister lived out there, and I went and paid a visit to the Stradman. This is before he was quite as big as he is today, but he took me out for a ride in the Gallardo, and it had just been wrapped in the purple camouflage. It was very cool. And I just remember him telling me that you're not a successful YouTuber or someone on social media until you have to deal with a consistent stream of people who are criticizing you and who hate you. And I'm like, wow, what a kind of sad reality check. But sometimes when you have that much aggression towards you in a certain way, well, especially if you're not doing anything like overtly evil, like I'm not like projecting something terribly immoral or anything like that. So the hate coming my way is just because there's some jealousy, or they don't like what I'm doing, or they wish they were doing it. I guess that's jealousy. Or they just hate my style, and they hate the fact that someone they don't like is doing the thing that they would do better, I guess. I don't know. And I remember thinking, like, wow, what a wild sensation to think, like, until I have a large group of people coming after me saying, like, I hate this guy's voice, or he's too short, or he's this, he's that, right? Then you're not successful. And like, there is a level where you do need to accept the hate as part of the success. So I think the moral of the story here is that you're going to face rejection and criticism and people talking about you behind your back, no matter what you do. And it changes a little bit, because if you're starting out and you've got nothing, then people are going to scoff at you. For example, I'm telling my coworkers that I'm going to quit my engineering job with a steady paycheck and go do YouTube. Like, you tell that to a bunch of middle-aged men, they look at you like you're a complete moron. And to some, I might have been, I don't know. But once you find some success and you find a living out of it, or the public perception is starting to grow, and they're like, hey, yeah, people really like this guy, or they hear about me from other people, they're like, I know that guy. At that point, they're like, they shift their tune, and they went from, oh man, this idiot will be back in 6 months, to, I know that guy, I used to work with him. And that's a good thing. That's okay. I don't resent that. I don't think that's a bad thing. I don't need everybody's support in every chapter of my life. And that's where you need to be. If you want to start something, whether it's a job or an art form or something creative, like, it's okay to suck. It's okay to fail, but you got to try. And I think most people don't even give themselves the shot at trying. I still walk that line. Like, currently, Eddie and David, my two closest friends, are running Grid Life. They're racing a GT4 Club Sport and an FK8 Honda Civic Type R at these Grid Life time trial events, and they're fantastic. And David bought this insane toter home and car hauler, and now we're driving around the country bringing these cars to racetracks. Now, why am I not racing? Part of it is my car's not really ready for that. It would have to be my FL5, and it's my daily driver. I don't know that I want to convert it into a race car, but part of it is that, like, I am a little nervous about it, and I feel like right now I can at least contribute and get my feet wet by helping tow the cars and bring them there and support their teams as kind of a pit crew. It doesn't have to be all about me. This doesn't have to be the Tedward show going out and racing as well. But what I really should be doing is taking advantage of the fact that we have an extra spot in the hauler and doing track days in all these different places. So this is something that I need to get over, and I need to just go do. I find myself getting into a comfort zone pretty regularly, and I know where I go. I have my little drive routes. I've got my photography spots. I go on a Tuesday, Wednesday, Thursday. I do my thing and I go home. And what I need to be doing is adventuring and being brave, which is what I've been really focusing on this summer. So I made a trip out to Colorado. I went to Pikes Peak and filmed there. I went to Martha's Vineyard for the Land Rover Vineyard Series event, and I filmed there. And I get out of my comfort zone, and I try to do things that I might fail at. And any off-road videos you see of me, we don't know what the heck we're doing, but we're trying our best and we're having fun. And it's okay that people are going to come in and be like, oh, these clowns, of course they got stuck, they don't know what they're doing. Yeah, we're fully aware. That's in the disclaimer. Don't do what we do, especially off-road. That is not the move. I highly don't recommend it. But anyway, I don't know what that was. He's got a sign of some sort. I can't tell if he's like a religious zealot or if he's just like, have a nice day, free hugs. Who knows? Anyway, I hope that you guys get brave. I don't want you to ruin your life, because I'm not going to be one of those people that's like, you can make it. Everything works as long as you believe it. Put it on your vision board. No. Like, save some money. Figure it out. Make sure that you have a backup plan for your backup plan, and that you can always go back to something else. Get an education, because having an engineering degree means that I can always go back to like a reasonably lucrative career if I have to. But if there's something that speaks to you in this world, if there's something that you love, that you're like, I gotta do this, I gotta take a shot, and it's not gonna jeopardize your life too badly, you can always rebuild if it fails. Give it a shot. At least dip your toe in it on the side, on the weekends. Figure it out, because I just think that if you can do something in this world with your life, we don't have that much time, just get it done. And maybe it's not even a career thing. Maybe you just want to go to the gym and get fit, but you're too embarrassed to be there with other people who are working out. Like, screw them! It's your body, it's your life, it's your time. Go use it the way you want to do it. You are entitled to all of the things that the beautiful and the rich people have. Go try it. Don't worry about what anybody says, but don't ignore everything they're saying, because there might be, even in the cruel messages, some little nuggets of information that help you grow. So, I'm gonna go bring this 993 back. I love this car. What a cushy drive. It's a hot day. I've got the AC going. It's yellow. I like a yellow car. And it's fast. It's a silent killer. I would love to daily drive one of these. What a cool thing. Thank you guys so much for watching, liking, commenting, and subscribing. Comment below if there is a success story, a failure story, people who have stopped you from doing things, expectations that have kind of ruined your life or amplified your life. I don't know. Let me know in the comments. Don't forget to respect the drive. And I'll see you in the next one. This fact is either going to comfort you or horrify you, but you cannot please everybody, and there will always be people who hate you for just who you are. No reason at all. You just rub them the wrong way. And if you're in a small group of people, pre-social media, just your school, maybe it's a small percentage of people that just don't like you. You rub them the wrong way. Well, that's okay. But the bigger you grow, whether it's in a business or on social media, like that percentage may stay the same, but there's going to be a heck of a lot more people who represent that percentage. And it's okay. And I find comfort in that because it means that when there's people that don't like me, it's like, yeah, well, of course there's people who don't like me. Of course there's people who reject me immediately. Like, that's just life. That just means you're a normal person. It's kind of like the way some people are completely horrified by the size of the universe. They realize that we are just but a grain of sand in the vast beach of the universe. Like, we're smaller than that. We are like so insignificant, and a lot of people find our insignificance to be a dangerous vibe. It feels scary to them. It makes them feel useless. It makes me feel great because if I'm insignificant, then like any of my mistakes like don't really matter. I mean, yeah, we need to be good to each other. We still live in a microcosm of humanity, right? We can't just like do terrible things and be like, well, nothing matters. You know, I'm not a full nihilist, but the reality is it's okay to try things. It's okay that people don't like you or don't like what you're doing. As long as what you're doing is moral and decent. I mean, as long as people hate you for the right reasons, right? You don't want them to hate you because they're completely justified that you're a sick monster. That's a very different conversation. And we're back to Bond Group. Oh boy, a tow truck. What do we have here? And it's yellow. Another yellow friend. Park this guy in the shade. Save this dashboard.